Newport and then.
Okay, guys, we're going to go ahead and get started because it is 5:30. Alexander, we're not sure, we haven't heard from him. So we're just going to go ahead and get started. So let's call the meeting to order and roll call, please.
Lori Quinn,
Here.
Ethan Reed, present. Mark Ferguson,
Present.
Alexander Bainey, Jensen Tilkey,
Here.
Jay Winburn,
Here.
Brooks Davis,
Here.
Tanisha Roundtree,
Present.
Cassidy Cook,
Here.
Kevin Gambrill.
Here.
Okay, and as we read in each meeting, the Conway Planning Commission makes recommendations to the City Council on public hearing items. Items reviewed on this agenda will be considered by City Council as early as 5/27/2025. Items not approved by the Planning Commission Board of Zoning Adjustment may be appealed to the City Council within 30 days of the date of denial. So with that, let's move forward, and I'll entertain a motion to approve the minutes.
I make a motion to approve the minutes.
Okay,
Second.
motion and a second. All in favor? Any opposed? Okay, thank you. Now we're going to move into the public hearing items, old business. Lauren, I think you're up for this one.
Hey, everyone. So this item was tabled at the last month, the 4/21/25 Planning Commission meeting. Just due to the applicant not being present by the bylaw standards, we had to table it. It is, as just a refresher, a rezone from R1 to R2 at 1 Laura Lane. It is a platted lot in the Countrywood Addition subdivision. The applicant is intending to, I would assume, remove the 1,600 square foot home, and I did speak with them regarding the construction of duplexes. If that is the intent, you would be able to put no more than 2 duplexes on that site. Should they choose to orient it Laura or Hubbard, they both have to face the same direction. A lot of the area is single-family and duplex development. No roadworks proposed at the time. Any extensions of utilities would need to be dealt with Conway Corporation. But outside of that, it's the same request as last month.
Okay, thank you. Okay, is the applicant here to speak in favor of this request? Okay, if you'd like to step forward. And if you'll just state your name and address for the record, please.
Yes, hi, my name is Ellie Brissell. I reside in Maumelle, Arkansas, but I am a realtor and a property manager here in Conway. I did talk a little bit about,
Yeah, I mean,
Request? Okay.
if you want to, we got your packet that you presented, so if you just, and also have you reviewed the staff's suggestions?
I did, yes. So the photos that you're looking at, or some of the photos to the right side, are going to be the proposed ideal look of the property that we're kind of going for. These are to show that our intent is to keep it in line with some of the other upgraded homes and properties that have been done by the Massey Group and Central Arkansas Construction. As you can see, they've taken some homes that were in desperate need of repair and created some really nice quality properties. On that left side, you'll see that we have a proposed idea of what that duplex would look like. And the entire area really is duplex oriented. The home on its own really doesn't offer much value. It was built in 1947, so it is a much older home and does need some repairs. Unfortunately, some are just construction-wise, it would be really hard. We have a brick fireplace that's causing flooring issues. We have some rotted joists, just things that, you know, over time, an 80-plus-year-old home desperately needs to be redone. We can't really get a great property value out of that because of those kinds of repairs. So in getting a duplex, that would be modern and, you know, bring up the value of the area. I think that's what we're hoping to showcase here, is that the quality would be excellent, and the intent would be to give more people a place to live in that area where it's very commercial, so close to medical, restaurants, the colleges.
Okay, thank you. Does anybody have any questions? Okay, thank you. We may call you back up, but
Yes,
thank
ma'am.
you.
Thank you.
Is there anybody else here to speak in favor of this request? Okay, is there anyone here to speak in opposition of this request? Okay, thank you. And we'll just pull it back into commission now.
Make a motion to approve the rezoning.
I second that motion.
Okay, all in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Okay, thank you. Motion passes. You're welcome. Okay, we're going to move on to the second item, which was also in our last meeting, if you guys will remember. And Ryan, if you will kick us off on this.
Yes, ma'am. Good evening. Again, this was tabled at the last meeting. This is a request for some live work units at the southeast corner of Prince Street and Reedy Road. It is north of Essex Drive, which is a private street. Just a reminder, based on the proposed use, the average daily trips would be 21 for the residential use, 88 for the live work component. The comments proposal would allow for a mixed-use development to the north parcel and townhome development to the south. The original PUD allowed for MF1 density. MF1 density allows for no more than 12 units per gross acre. This density was followed in the initial phase of the development. Basically, the reason this is here is to modify the plan unit development to allow for that live work component. There's 13 conditions that we've conditioned it with that you guys have read over. If you have questions about that or anything else, just let me know.
Okay,
14.
okay, thank you. Is the applicant here to speak in favor? If you'll state your name and address, please.
It's John Pennington, and my address is 306 Salem Road, Suite 104 in Conway. And obviously, we're here from a tabled agenda from last month. And I took this opportunity to send the Planning Commission a letter. I hope you guys were able to receive that and review that. We did our best to kind of outline basically our pitch. And I do want to reiterate that you guys are volunteers, and I do appreciate the time that you do come up here and spend and to help developers in Conway move Conway forward with your decisions. We recognize it's not easy sometimes, especially when there's opponents that are versus, an applicant who's trying to request change. So we recognize the difficulty in that. So to speak briefly on, just to reiterate some of those points in that letter, I believe it's important for you to analyze what's allowed by right at any location, not just this agenda, but any location, versus what is being applied for and requested. It's unique with this particular parcel. I believe this is one of the oldest PUDs in Conway. It was in 1985. I can't find one much older. And with the absence of the conditions and your site plan, your PUD plan, none of that exists with this property. So it's really more appropriate to refer to this as MF1 with the disguise of a PUD label. And when you consider that, you have to consider all uses that are allowed under MF1 by right. And in the letter that I sent you, it was essentially worst case scenario. If you move to deny, you're leaving any opposition or any of the neighbors open for a potential degradation of value, because any of the architectural controls or the oversight that you would normally have with the site development review process would not be available if we used a single duplex lot. And so obviously we're not requesting that. We're just offered that as a counterbalance to what we are requesting. And it's kind of counterintuitive if we're wanting to protect the property values and protect the way of life of those nearby owners. You have to agree to amend the PUD so that you can put in place constraints on the developer, whether it be me or someone else, because this certainly could be sold at some point. So speaking to the project itself, it's a live work space, 4 units max on the north parcel. That is what max density is currently allowed by right. So typically you would see a developer asking for a more dense project than what's allowed by right. That's pretty normal. It's certainly normal for me. But in this case, 4 units are allowed by right, and that's what we're asking for. The only additional thing that we're asking for is the live work component and reduce setbacks. The south parcel, which I referred to that lot there to the south of Essex, that's allowed by right. What's currently not allowed by right would be the reduced setbacks. So just speaking strictly to the live work unit, it is an innovative use, which I mentioned last time to the commission. We feel that it has a potential to be successful in Conway. And we think this site is probably best served as live work because when you take into consideration Prince Street, as I mentioned in the letter, I mean, the character of Prince Street is evolving. 8,000 cars a day. It's a very busy road. We can all admit to that. So I would say the character of Prince is shifting more towards a residential collector to a thoroughfare that accesses, east-west corridor for Conway, which is going to, over time, kind of evolve more towards commercial use. That would be an appropriate land use, in my opinion. So a live work at this location is almost the best of both worlds. You are getting the live component, which is the established residential pattern, but then you overlay that with tapping into more commercial use of what I feel Prince should ultimately be. And we purposely designed the live work, the north partial, to front everything on Prince Street as a buffer to those townhouses to the south. That was on purpose, and direct that curb cut onto Prince Street, so to minimize traffic flow through the current Essex Drive. That was the intent of the design. I think in one of the write-ups I read that there was some site development issues, and there is. I will be the first to admit, especially when you're dealing with infill projects such as this, when land is a premium, you're going to have conflicts with potential utilities and finding enough available area for on-site detention and so on and so forth, parking. But those, again, are all development issues I believe we can work through with the planning staff and other departments. I did speak to Chief Weedor, which is the fire marshal. He and I think we're pretty much on the same page, that we feel that the live work is doable within the fire code at this location. Based off this site plan that I provided here. So I feel pretty comfortable about that. I'd be happy to answer any questions that you guys might have.
Anybody have any questions?
Go with the staff recommendations.
Yes.
Okay, thank you. I don't think there's anybody else here to speak in favor. But if there is, come forward. Okay, is there anyone here to speak in opposition tonight? I don't think we have anyone here. For those of you watching, there's no one here to speak in opposition. So with that, let's move it back into commission. And I wanted to do a couple of things. I talked to Ann today. One, remind you guys that the reason we tabled this was some of the residents, the neighbors that will connect there, thought they had a copy of the original PUD, and they had the covenants and restrictions, not the PUD. So the original intent of the subdivision through covenants and restrictions would have to be something discussed civilly. That would not be a matter for us. And then, Ann, if you can just also noting that we are, this is a PUD, so we are voting tonight for his plan to do something that is outside of what is there currently. So we are voting to have live work units here.
I'm just going to do a quick rundown of how this all works for anybody that doesn't know. When a PUD is established in Conway, it's done with a use in mind. We have residential PUDs, we have high commercial PUDs, low commercial, all those things. So it always is going to have some sort of zoning attached to it, even though the zoning is a PUD. This particular one, given what's there and everything, we're fairly certain it's an MF1. And I think there's some documentation that we found that says MF1. So by right, he can develop MF1 in that place. So what you're looking at is the live work. That is the one component of this that was not pre-discussed, agreed upon or anything like that. So that's basically what you guys are looking at. Can you allow a live work? There are things that Mr. Pennington can do on this site by right, as long as, and again, the PUD governing document does not exist. We can't find it anywhere. It was pre-computer era and saving all that kind of stuff, so it doesn't exist. The only thing that does exist is covenants and restrictions. That is not something that the city or you guys need to take into consideration. That is something that if Mr. Pennington wants to bite this off, then that, as Lori said, that's a different matter. That's a civil matter that they would have to deal with. So that being said, you guys take it away and decide whether live work is there. And if you deny, it'll go to city council. If you approve, it stops here. But then he has to go through the site development review. Transportation will look at it for drainage, fire, us, all of those, what do they call, recommendations on there will have to be met. I lose my words sometimes.
So basically, we're deciding tonight, do you want to allow office space and living space there in that part of Prince Street? And that's for us to decide tonight. Typically, sometimes we don't even have plans. We don't go this far, but tonight we are voting on what he is wanting to do right there with the live work space. So with that, I know you guys may have some questions or.
And Ryan will be happy to answer them.
Yes, Ryan will come right back up here and answer any questions.
In the staff comments, it says multiple challenges related to site development review. I assume the staff recommendations are kind of trying to help address some of those.
They are. I mean, what we're going to see when we go, if this passes and it goes to site development review, there's going to be a parking exception that's going to be required, which will have to be approved by council. We'll have to
Probably
review
an
drainage,
access.
and there's going to be an access because of the spacing between the two access points. Drainage will be addressed by our engineers. So there are things in the site development review process that are still going to have to be looked at beyond just the decision that you guys make here.
And the by right use that's there now, the MF1 that we purport that, what is the highest intensity residential use?
It's 12 units per acre.
12 units, but they do not, that's gross, right? That's not
Mhm.
net.
Correct.
Thank you.
Per acre. What, 0.39? Okay.
But since the PUD document does not exist, there are no conditions where tonight we can
Right.
condition it, you know. how
We're
we-
creating conditions
Correct.
for this.
Correct.
And I believe all that was found were maybe some minutes from the 1980s.
That's how we found out what we know
Yep.
about this, is from the minutes from the council meeting or planning commission meeting.
Okay. Anybody have anything you want to discuss in commission? Anybody have any questions for staff? Okay.
We'll make a motion to approve with the 13 conditions listed in the staff report.
Second.
Okay. Motion second. Okay. All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Okay.
Lori wanted me to give an update about the legislative stuff. Ron and I are going to a APA roundtable on Wednesday in Russellville to get definitive answers on all of it, how it's going to affect planning going forward. So at the next meeting, I'll have some good notes for you.
Okay. Anybody else have anything to add? Okay. Good work. Good night.
I make a motion to adjourn.
All in favor?
Aye.